Charting Toward Intimacy covers mature topics. Listener discretion is advised.
Sex shouldn't feel confusing, disappointing, or like a total mystery. But if it does, it's probably because you and your husband haven't figured out the foundational stuff. In this episode, we're going to walk you through essential conversations that every couple needs about arousal, initiation, pain, positions, and a bunch more things. You're going to learn exactly what to talk about, how to talk about it, and why avoiding these conversations might be completely sabotaging your sex life. Welcome to Charting Toward Intimacy, the podcast for Catholic women that helps you improve your sex life, strengthen your marriage, and embrace God's design for love. My name is Ellen Holloway, and joining me today is my amazing semi-regular co-host, Kathleen Chavanis. All right, you gotta figure your stuff out.
We joked about this, and now here we are for real.
Now we're actually recording it.
Now we're
So here's the thing, is this episode, it's for anybody, for sure. Mm-hmm. Anybody who, we're gonna run through the stuff you need to figure out for sex. I think that this episode's going to be particularly helpful for our engaged and newly married folk who are kind of sex is new. What do we do? But that's not to say if you've been married for a couple of years, you shouldn't listen, because we're going to run through just all the things you need to figure out. And if there's something you and your husband haven't figured out yet, that might be why sex is so hard.
Yeah. Yeah.
This is the groundwork things that it's going to take a while to figure out. And some of it might just naturally be figured out. And some of it will need to be explicitly sit down, let's chat about this and figure out.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. So
I love it. Yeah. Let's just jump right in.
All right.
So we've got categories here.
Yeah. We've got some categories, and we have questions in the categories. So our first category is arousal and desire. And this is a big category.
This might be the biggest category.
That's why
it's kind of like everything.
Let's start with this one. All right. So here's some of the questions in this category. We got to figure the stuff out when it comes to arousal and desire. Do you experience spontaneous or responsive desire? We've got an episode on spontaneous and responsive desire. If you don't know what that means, just go listen to that episode. What helps you get in the mood? What turns you on? What helps you stay in the mood once you're in the mood? And then what shuts down your desire completely? What turns you off? What's a brake that hits the brakes and you go, eh.
Yeah.
You got to figure this stuff out. This stuff, I think a lot of times we're this will naturally figure itself out. But honestly, I got to say, this arousal and desire stuff, this has got to be something you explicitly figure out.
Yeah.
Talk about it. Talk about what turns you on, what turns you off. Take some time to figure that out for yourself. Jot it down.
Yeah. And I think that these are some questions that, especially if you're newly married or, getting married soon, these are things you may not know the answer to right away, which I think is really important.
Good point.
This could take time for you to figure out, because especially if you're going into marriage without any real sexual experience, right?
Which I hope that you are.
Hopefully. I mean, but listen, some people, we've, yeah. Either way, even if you've had sexual experience in the past, you may not have had sexual experience with this partner, correct? So no matter what, it can take and will almost certainly take time to figure these things out, and allow it to take time. That's okay for it to take time, but just keep it in mind so that as time goes on, you can say, oh, wow, I really liked that in a way that was different than some other things, right? So that kind of stood out.
Or I really didn't like that.
Or I really didn't like that. Exactly. Just keep those things in mind, and maybe I think the idea of having a journal is really great, that, you can kind of just go ahead and whenever something stands out as good or bad in your experience, you can jot it down and bring it up for discussion later. But this isn't something you should just know right off the bat.
Yes. Such a good point.
Yeah.
All right. Next category.
So our next category is initiation. So when we're
this
talking,
also should be explicit, I think.
Yes. Yeah. Yes.
Like explicitly figure this out, friends.
Right. Yeah. Just you want to figure this one out. So some questions. How do you like to be approached for sex? What really works for you? Are there certain times or ways of initiating that feel pressuring, like it's too much, that maybe turn you off? Do you prefer verbal, physical, or situational cues? Right? So what does initiation, how are you comfortable with initiation? How can you even push yourself in initiation, right? And I think this is a conversation that doesn't typically happen until it absolutely needs to happen. And that means that like there's usually
like,
some sort of problem or
up.
things implode, right? There's like, so I think it's important for both spouses to make it clear, what do you like? What do you not like? What are your tendencies? Because a lot of the times I think initiation is going to fall on the husband, and the woman may not always think that she has to initiate, right? Because it's like, oh, well, he kind of is the natural initiator, so that's fine. That just works for us. When actually the husband is not happy with that and would prefer that the wife initiate more often or at all. But it's something that doesn't really come up in conversation a lot of the time until he's feeling resentful, right? And he's kind of like, she's not attracted to me because she never initiates. When really she's just like, oh, well, I don't have to initiate. I like being pursued. And so he just always initiates. But it's never a conversation until the miscommunication really starts.
And then everybody's defensive and everybody's like on edge, and we're not able to just like figure it out. That's the whole point of this episode. Figure your stuff out.
Yeah. Sit this list of stuff and just, okay, let's go through these.
We'll put the list, we'll put these questions in the show notes. And so you guys can just like copy the questions.
Yeah.
I think the other thing with initiation, same goes for desire and arousal. If you're newly married or like, or I guess if you're engaged and you might not know how you like to be initiated. So I would honestly like sit down with your fiance and be like, hey, let's talk about this now. And then let's plan to talk about it in like 2 months after we get married, like, or a month after we get married, or 6 months after we get married, and just like touch base about what we thought we would like about initiation versus what we actually like. And then if you are married now and you're thinking, oh, initiation's not a problem for us, I really want you to sit down and talk to your husband about it and make sure that it's not a problem for him.
Yeah.
Because like this is one of those things that just like silently sits and simmers until it boils over. So figure this one out, guys. Make sure everybody likes it. And just like initiation is so tough too, because it can make you feel on edge from the start. Like if your husband uses certain words to initiate sex with you, like you can just immediately be turned off, not in the mood, and never want to have sex again. Like that's how initiation holds so much weight in this situation.
Yeah, no, so true.
Okay, touch. Let's talk about touch. Honestly, like these first couple are like the most important. Okay. Yeah. What kind of touch do you find soothing? What kind of touch turns you on? What kind of touch do you find sexy? What kind of touch do you find playful? What kind of touch do you find irritating? Like, what are your feelings about the different kinds of touches? Are there places that you do not like being touched? Are there places that you do like being touched during arousal, during sex? And then what speed, what pressure, what pace works best for you? And I'm going to say that this is a trial and error category, not necessarily a like sit down before you start having sex and like talk about it. Unless you're like, I'm really sensitive in this part of my body. Please don't touch it. Like not yet. Right. Or like, I know I'm pretty ticklish and I'm afraid that might lead into sex. Let's be very careful about, touching like my midsection or, things like that. But really like touch is from try something. Oh, didn't like that. Don't do that again, please.
Yeah. Another great thing for your journal.
Oh, that was a good idea.
Yeah.
Yes.
Exactly.
Another good thing another good thing for that journal is just like jotting down, really liked that, didn't like that.
Yeah, exactly.
Anything else on touch?
I think the only other thing I would mention is that sometimes, like, depending on the stage of arousal you're in, like, you could feel one way about a certain touch and then another way about that same touch.
That's such a good point.
Yeah, so I think that that's another thing to kind of note, right? It's not like, oh, I never like that kind of touch. It's just that early on, that doesn't quite work. But, like, as arousal sort of heightening, oh, wow, all of a sudden that, like, really works. You know, and this is why I think women are, like, one of the many reasons we are so elusive to men. Because it's just like, I don't know, like, I can push the button now, but I can't push it then. And, like, how do I know? Try to help them out with that, right? Like, try to help them to know, like, okay, at this point, right? Like, when you kind of see things turn, that's when these other things, you know, these certain touches, like, become comfortable and enjoyable and whatever. But leading up to that, before that, they're kind of just a little, they're not quite comfortable yet.
And for my ticklish friends, this really, really applies, because a lot of time, like, if you're a typically fairly ticklish person, first of all, it's actually all in your head and you can get over it. But second, ticklish. We should do an episode on tickling.
That sounds like a soapbox. I don't know.
Let me talk about tickling. Okay, we're not in this episode, but maybe we will do an episode about feeling ticklish and, like, what to do about that.
So funny.
But for my ticklish friends, I am a ticklish person, okay? Like, I'm in this boat. This is why I have such strong feelings about it. But a lot of times, like, if you have a very low level of arousal, like, you're going to feel pretty ticklish, and you will get less ticklish as you get closer to arousal. And so that's something that's helpful to communicate as well with your spouse.
Yeah, absolutely. All right, moving on. Pain or discomfort is our next category. So some questions we want to consider. Are there any areas that are sensitive, painful, or completely off limits? Do you notice discomfort during certain positions or activities? And then what helps if pain does happen? Should we pause? Should we try something else? How are we going to communicate about that? Which I think is so important with how creating this understanding of how you communicate about this, because I think your spouse can get put in the defense, right? Like, it's just like they're not doing a good job or they're doing it wrong. And, like, that's a very personal accusation for them to sort of feel and internalize, right? Not that you're saying that, but that's how they could take it. So find out ahead of time before this happens, if I'm feeling pain, how would you prefer I communicate that? That'll save a lot of grief.
It's going to save a lot of, like, just feelings of,
rejection and, like, inadequacy and just, like, all the things.
Just figure out what you're going to do if pain arises.
Yeah.
All right.
But I think, that's pretty self-explanatory.
I feel like that's it. Pain.
Yeah.
We also have lots of podcast episodes about pain with sex. So, like, if that's part of your story, go just like search in your podcast player, like, pain in Charting Toward Intimacy. The episodes from summer of 2024, there were definitely some pain episodes in there. So go look at those. Okay, positions. One of my favorites. All right. What positions feel best physically and emotionally? I'm going to comment on that in a second. Are there positions that make it easier for you to climax? I have so many comments on this section. Are there positions that feel more connected, like more unifying versus, like, functional? And then are there positions that you definitely do not like physically or emotionally? All right, so here's the thing. First off, I have a positions guide for Catholic couples. And like, this can be a super great thing to, like, walk through together, especially if you're, like, engaged, and just kind of be like, these look interesting. I don't like these for XYZ. I don't like the position the woman's body is in. I don't like the position the man's body is in. I don't like how you have to get into this position. I don't like the name of this position. Okay? There is a name. There is a position. that has a particular name that I went back and forth on adding to the positions guide because I know how it makes so many women feel. I am talking about doggy style. I thought about renaming it and I couldn't come up with a name that was like reasonable.
Yeah.
It is fully acceptable if you are just like, no, I can't do doggy style because emotionally I can't do doggy style, right? Like that is okay. Like lay some ground rules with positions. The positions guide can help you like just have a baseline of like a bunch of positions to kind of like look through and things to try. And then the other thing that the positions guide can help you is if you start in a position, like let's say you just start in missionary or reverse missionary and you're like, wow, sex sucks. Guys, you don't have to stay in missionary. It's okay.
Yeah.
And then you've got like options to try. I think a lot of times like we feel very closed in and then we don't want to go and Google search and look up like what else can we try? What else can we do? Because we're like, I don't know what the internet is going to serve me. And so, yeah. Position. And then like, don't be afraid to try lots of positions if the woman's climax is like not happening because there are positions that allow for much better like access for direct clitoral stimulation of the clitoral head while intercourse is happening. There are positions that just like are more stimulating to like her entire pelvic region. And there's a lot of that is in the positions guide. Like there's spots in the tips and tricks section. It'll say like this one's good for clitoral access. This one's good for pelvic, stimulation, things like that. So just make sure that you talk about positions. And again, this might not be something that you necessarily know beforehand. But again, like if you're getting pretty close to your wedding, I would say like download the positions guide and then just like have a night, as long as this is not going to be too arousing for you guys. You have to kind of judge yourself. But like have a night where you just like flip through it and think about some things. Or maybe do that directly after your honeymoon, right? Buy it and then like after you've kind of like done the honeymoon thing. Because like honestly, honeymoon sex it's hard. It's not going to be this magical experience. Sorry.
That's okay. And it's okay. That's normal.
It's okay. It's okay.
To be that
You've
way.
got your whole life to figure sex out, right?
Yeah.
But like after you get home from the honeymoon, then like have a night where you like flip through and like plan to have sex that night too, because you'll be like rearing to go. And then if you're already married, again, like if positions hasn't been something you've ever really talked about or considered, like plan the same thing. Plan to have sex that night and before as like part of foreplay. Kind of that anticipatory foreplay. Like just sit down, like flip through it and like jot down the ones that sound interesting, the ones that don't. The positions guide too. This is ending up being a sales pitch for the positions guide, which is fine because everyone should have it. It's really, really great.
It is very good. Ellen
really
put a lot
cool.
of work into it. It's really well thought out.
I did.
Yeah, it's really good.
There in the back, there are like print and cut cards. So you can just like print those couple of sheets and cut them out and then just make a stack of the ones that you're interested in trying. So that's fun too.
And you could like select one at random, turn it into a game.
Exactly. Like you could draw it out of a hat. It'd be super fun.
That would be really fun. All right. Are you done with positions now, Ellen?
I'm finished. I'm off of my soapbox now.
So she got a lot of soapboxes this episode.
I do.
You do. All right. So let's go into another biggie. Communication. I mean, these are all big. That's why we're talking about them.
Yeah.
Communication and feedback. So again, let's listen to these questions so that we avoid a lot of resentment that could be possible that some of us have experienced.
Maybe every married couple who hasn't had these conversations has experienced
we do this
these issues.
We do this so you don't have to go through what we have gone through.
Yeah.
These basically.
This list came from Kathleen and I's own experience.
Yes, basically. Almost entirely. Okay, so communication and feedback. How do you want your husband to tell you what feels good or doesn't? And how do you want to tell him? Or how do you want him to tell you?
And how does he want you to tell him?
Right, like all the possible ways that this can go, okay? So how do you want your husband to tell you And how does he want you to tell him? And then how do you want him to tell you? And whatever one I'm missing, because my brain's in a knot.
That's okay.
Okay.
I think we get the idea.
Yeah, great. Exactly. All the different ways we can cross that. Okay. How will you communicate things that need to change after sex? Will it be verbally? Will it be nonverbal?
Or during. So you skipped the during sex one.
Oh, I'm sorry. I did. Okay, stop. Rewind. Let me reread that. How will you communicate things that need to change during sex? Would it be verbally, non-verbally? Maybe it's like a guiding hand or whatever it is, but talk about that to say, hey, if I do this, then it means blah, blah, blah. You know, that's a good thing that can really be, it can just avoid confusion in the act.
Yeah.
Do you like to talk during sex, or do you prefer to debrief afterward? How much talking do you guys like together as a couple? What kind of talk helps stay in the mood, and what kind of talk is distracting? What kinds of words or affirmations do you like during intimacy? Also, what kind of words do you maybe not like? I know that's something that I've come across with, where it's like, I really don't like that word being used. It just feels icky. Do you enjoy compliments, encouragement, flirtatious talk, silence? Do you prefer music? Whatever it is. And then, are there any words or phrases, oh, here's basically what I just said, that feel awkward or unwanted? So there's a lot. There's
so much here
there to be discussed. And again, these will all be in the show notes. So
and this
don't feel
isn't
like you have to
like
memorize
one
it here,
conversation.
No, definitely
like,
not.
This is so many conversations. I think a few things that, like, again, if you're gonna just like sit down and have a talk, like, let's lay down, okay, what are the words that we can't use? What words are uncomfortable? You know, I think there's quite a few women, and I recommend during sex, like, leave the crass vocabulary out. Like, sex is good and beautiful and, you know, and unitive and enjoyable and holy. Like, we don't need to be like using crass language.
Yeah.
Right. And then you can talk about some ideas on the other questions as well. But you may not know until you're in the moment.
Yeah, yeah.
And I think one of the things that's so important is like that first question. How does your husband want you to tell him when things need to change? And how do you want your husband to tell you when things need to change? Because two things. It sets up the expectation that you will need to communicate about things that need to change. Yes. Because that will happen. Okay. And it's not a reflection of your husband, you know, it's not a reflection of your ability to have sex. It's not a reflection of your husband's ability to have sex. It is a natural, necessary component of having sex that things will have to change. Things will not feel good. Things will not, you know, words will turn you off. Like, touch will, I don't know, you know, like, things will need to change.
Yeah.
And because I hear this quite a bit from women of like, oh, I can't, you know, I can't guide my husband's hand to like something that feels better physically because he gets really upset that, like, you know, that he's not doing a good job.
Yeah.
We need to cut that problem off. Like, we need to nip it at the bud.
Yeah. Yeah.
And like, if you're engaged right now, have the conversation that things will change. Your husband is not going to guess everything correctly the first time. He will not.
Yeah.
You are
True.
not going to guess everything correctly the first time. You won't. You guys both need to be okay with the fact that somebody like your husband is going to say, didn't like that, don't do that again. Right? Figure out how you want to talk about that. Like, what, you know, what's helpful? Is it in the moment? Do we initially just say, oh, that, please don't do that again. That I didn't like that. Or is it that after is better, right?
Yeah.
That's what, like, that question of, you know, do we like to talk during sex? Do we want to debrief after? And again, these can be figured out as well.
Yeah.
Like, you try it one way and you're like, I actually didn't like it. When you, like, right in the moment were like, ooh, I don't like that very much. Like, can we save those kind of things, unless it's like definitely painful? Can we save those for after sex, right? Or can you say it in this way instead of the way that you said it, right?
Yeah.
Can you compliment sandwich it? Like,
Yeah. No, it's so true. And again, this is like, just by clearing up these sorts of things as early as you can, it just prevents so much miscommunication, so much resentment, like so many hurt feelings, like just to get this clear. So this is huge.
all right. Let's talk about environment and timing. I think these are pretty cut and dry.
Yeah.
What time of day works best for each of you? I mean, think about what you would desire, and then also just your schedules. Like, just look at your schedule. Do you prefer spontaneous or planned sex? And
Always
we'll talk about
plan
this
it.
in a moment. Just plan it. Plan it. And then what kind of setting, what kind of things help you feel relaxed, right? Do you need the laundry to be done? Do you need the dishes? Like, does the sink need to be clean, or else that's going to be like on your mind the whole time? Does your room need to be cleaned up? Do you like candles? Do you like lots of light? Do you like no light? Do you like music? Like, what kind of things in the setting can you guys set up to just set you up for success? But like, let's talk about...
I was gonna say, we have a light we literally call the sex light. It just provides...
That's awesome.
It provides the perfect amount of light. Not too much, not too little. It's perfect.
That's fantastic. Everyone should get a sex light.
Everyone should have a sex light.
We have like remote controlled little like tea lights.
Yeah, those are nice.
Like,
yeah.
and they're just like set up around the room.
I love that.
If anybody goes into our room, they would like for sure know why we have tea lights all over the room.
I mean, ours is a salt lamp, so it's actually a lot less conspicuous.
That's such a good idea. We
a
have
salt
a salt lamp and like we don't use it. I should just bring that
It's
into
just
our
in
bedroom.
and our room is pretty big, but we just have one little salt lamp. It's like, I don't know, 9 inches high, and it sits in the corner.
That's a fantastic idea.
And it's the
'Cause
perfect
it's
amount of light
such
throughout the
a-
whole room.
It's like a pink light. It's nice. Oh my gosh. I'm totally grabbing our salt lamp and moving
Grab
it to
a
our room.
salt
That's
lamp.
a fantastic idea. Okay.
Yeah.
Anyway, there's a little tip for you. Get
There
a
you
salt
go.
lamp. Okay, but real quick on spontaneous versus planned sex. We've got episodes out the wazoo where I go on diatribes about this. But when we're talking about like planned versus spontaneous sex, it doesn't mean putting sex on a checklist of chores that you need to do. It means prioritizing it in the same way that you prioritize going to mass, that you prioritize going to work, right? Does anybody just not show up to work? If you choose to not show up to work, like you're saying, I'm quitting. Okay.
Yeah.
Like this
Yeah.
is what I'm talking about when I talk about like planned sex. It means making it a priority in your marriage. That is a really very, very good thing. And when you're looking for that spontaneity, when you're like, oh, we could never plan sex, you're not looking for spontaneity. You are looking for romance. So find ways to up the romance factor. Don't look for ways to up the spontaneous factor. Like the episode is called Spontaneity is Crap. So just go listen to that episode.
Yeah.
I will stop talking about this now. We could talk about the next one, which is cycle awareness.
Yeah, cycle awareness. This is often, I mean, in my group of friends, it's funny, they call NFP like the sex killer, the mood killer, and it doesn't have to be that way.
It does not have to be
It
that.
does not have to be that way. I know it's the men. The men, you know, they feel like it's just this, like, I don't know. Anyway, so let's talk about the questions. How does your cycle affect your mood, desire, or comfort? Knowledge is power. Are there certain days you need extra gentleness or prep? Which
Like extra foreplay.
Yeah, yeah, and there are certain phases of the cycle that you'll notice, like, I'm a lot more easygoing at this time of my cycle, and I need a lot more, like, foreplay and sort of lead in at this time during my cycle. What can we expect during fertile versus non-fertile time? And my favorite question that's most important that I wish I had the prompt to discuss in my pre-Cana class is, how do we want to handle understanding when the fertile window opens and closes? How do you, as my husband, want that communicated to you in a way that is not going to upset you, shut you down, make you, whatever? How can we do this the best? These are really important questions, just, this whole understanding that you are naturally going to go through these fertile and infertile times. And I would even kind of say, like, sort of around this topic, but also just like not, like, how are we really praying about, like, where God's calling us in our cycle,
so good.
right?
Yeah.
Like, how are we going to be discerning on a regular basis what God's asking of us on a cycle to cycle basis? Like, is he asking us to try? Is he asking us to not? Or are we going to be, how are we doing that together? How are we discerning that together? Because when you do discern that together and you're both on the same page as to where God's calling you, I think navigating the fertile and infertile times can be just much more unitive, right? Like, you're truly
Absolutely.
in this together when you've discerned what God is asking of you as a couple.
Absolutely.
And it'll feel less like gatekeeping. I think that's the danger, is that a lot of the times husbands can feel like their wives are just gatekeepers. Like, it's just like, oh, shop's open. Nope, shop's closed, But it's like, no, like, we need to know and feel confident that we are, that God, we're both know where God is calling us. And so it's not a shop open, shop closed sort of scenario. It's okay, in order to fulfill what God is asking of us right now, this is what we're being called to practice in this moment.
Absolutely.
All right.
All right.
That's my soapbox.
You covered it all. It's great. Okay, let's talk about, like, affection outside of sex. So what helps you feel, like, emotionally close outside of the bedroom? What do you need before sex? What non-sexual touch do you enjoy? What non-sexual touch do you not enjoy? I, like, literally just had this conversation with my husband about something that he does non-sexually that I was just like, dude, I just can't have you do this. It's, like, so disruptive to, like, what is happening in the moment. And, like, I just need you to, like, assess the situation before you do this thing. And I probably didn't handle it in the best way because I was a little bit, like, aggressive and defensive. So it's good to have these conversations calmly. And then another question, do you need more connection throughout the day to be open to sex? Like, what kind of, like, connection, what kind of touch, what kind of affection helps you be more open to sex at the end of the day?
Yeah.
I don't even know if there's much to say about those. Like, I think it's...
No, yeah, that's, pretty self-explanatory. So we'll go to the next one, which is dealing with awkwardness. What do we want to do when things get awkward, messy, or don't work? Is it okay to laugh about it? Some people feel like laughter over these things is, like, sort of offensive or upsetting, like you're laughing at them instead of with them, so that's a really good question to ask. What do we want to do when things get awkward, messy, or don't work? And how do we bring up things we want to try or that we want to stop? Again, without offending, without kind of totally slipping out of the mood, right? How can we bring these things up?
Yes. Okay. And then the last one is check-ins and, like, ongoing check-ins. Okay. So just, like, whether you are engaged, whether you are newly married, whether you've been married for 25 years, I want you, like, look at your week ahead, plan a time where you guys are going to sit down for at least a half hour and plan out, like, talk about this topic of ongoing check-ins for sex. You don't even need a half an hour. I mean, honestly, you could probably do this in 15 minutes, but set aside a half an hour just to give yourself wiggle room.
Yeah.
But, like, what I want you to do in this conversation is discuss these questions. How often should we revisit what's working and not working with sex? My recommendation would be no less than once a month, honestly.
Yeah.
To, like, check in about sex. And this is also a great opportunity to even, like, in this check-in, you could kind of talk about, hey, are we still trying to avoid? Are we still trying to conceive? Are we just kind of open to whatever happens? Like, where are we at with family planning right now? And then the other question is, how can we be brave? And I love the word brave here.
Yeah.
How can we be brave and loving when asking for more or less of something? Okay. So basically is, figure out when we're going to check in, and then figure out how we're going to talk during the check-in. Right? What are we going to say? And like this brave word is really, really important here, because what can happen if you like set up this like monthly sex check-in or intimacy check-in or whatever you want to call it.
Yeah.
Is then we can get like really kind of scared and nervous, and we'd be like, I don't actually need to bring that up. It's fine. I don't, nah, I don't need to do that. But like, lay some ground rules for like, okay, if there's something, even just like an inkling of something, I'm going to bring it up. I'm going to talk about this. I'm going to, and like lay down the ground rules of like how you guys are going to react to what's said, how you like, and using some of the conversations that are earlier that we talked about in this episode.
Yeah.
But yeah, if we can set up, if you and your husband can have a monthly like check-in about sex, I promise you, you're going to save so many arguments, so many of them. And I just think it'd be so good. Like, and again, whether you've been married for 25 years or like 42 years, like my parents, actually, I think it's 41. I think my in-laws are 42 years.
There you go.
Yeah, they're like 1 year apart. It's very cute.
1 year apart. That is cute.
Like, whether you've been married for many, many, many years or not even married yet, like, set this up. I think it's really going to help you guys.
Yeah.
Of course, we say that at the end. We should have talked about that first.
True. We got it in there. That's what matters.
All right. That is what we recommend. Like, figure this stuff out, and then like sex can just be this like such a joy-filled, like unitive experience when we can get this stuff figured out. And some of it is just stuff we kind of need to figure out first once. And that's it. And then some of it is some ongoing things that like you need to continue to this monthly check-in. Like, some of those questions earlier are things that need to be revisited fairly often. And so that's where this like monthly check-in can be super helpful. And you can check in more often than that. Yeah. I know couples that have a weekly check-in on Sunday evening. They just like check in. They check in about their relationship as a whole, but sex is one of the topics that they check in about every single week. And that's when, all right, friends, such a good idea. This couple that I know, that weekly check-in on Sunday, that's when they plan sex for the week. It's fantastic.
Oh, you love that.
I do, right? They sit down and they're like, all right, how are we going to prioritize sex this week? What does our schedule look like? It's so brilliant. Okay.
Amazing.
Anyway.
Amazing.
So, weekly check-in, at least monthly. You guys got this. You can figure it out.
Exactly.
Thanks so much for listening. If you've ever found yourself wondering, is this allowed? Or feeling unsure about how to spice things up without crossing a line, you are so not alone. A lot of Catholic women want more passion and variety in the bedroom, but they don't want to wade through garbage to get there. That is exactly why I created the Catholic Sex Positions Guide. It is respectful, it is church-aligned, and it's full of creative, clear ideas that can help you feel more confident and connected without second-guessing your choices. You can find it at vinesandfullbloom.com/positionsguide or check the show notes for the link.